Hi everyone, it's Karla Adams. Today I'm giving you 5 powerful tips to slim down fast in just 5 days to transform your body fast and reset your metabolism. But it's more than just weight loss. It's resetting your metabolism and creating real change. I'm here to break it down, plain and simple. Let's get into it. Tip number 1, cut out all processed foods. That's metabolism enemy number 1 for body transformation is a processed foods. I've had people travel all over Europe and eat pizza and drink wine and not gain a single ounce of fat. But if you drink wine and eat pizza in the US, I have people gain fat all the time. Most people are living on processed foods and they're not sleeping well, not using the bathroom regularly, their moods are off, the fat is gaining all over the waist, and they're just not feeling well, which is affecting both their personal life and their professional problem-solving skills, and it's just not getting the fat off. These are all systems that our system is just not running well and it's getting shut down. Processed food does not match our system, and it destroys your metabolism, which destroys body transformation. For the past 28 years, I've taken more and more foods off of my clients' plates to help them lose fat, because the fake food and chemicals is just increasing every single year, crashing people's metabolisms and destroying their body transformations and just knocking them right out of the game. We really need to understand our metabolism to get the full body transformation at its root. I'm in firm belief that God knew exactly what he was doing when he created one ingredient foods and our metabolism. What do you think the word metabolism means? Answer below. In 28 years, I've never had anybody get this answer correct, not even doctors. Most people answer the word metabolism with digestion or calorie burning. Give me your answer below. 2 real important Bible verses I always like to point out. Job 40:16, a strength of a man is in his gut. And Exodus 15:26, no dis-ease will I place on those who listen. A natural system on this earth with the sun and the soils, with vitamins, with minerals, with proteins, carbs, with fats. And it doesn't have to do with blaming any protein, carb, or fat. We just eat the natural ones that come from the earth that optimize our metabolism. Your body talks to you, but we're taught to ignore it and to follow outside noise and words. What your body tells you is far more informative than any study that you will ever learn or read about. But studies can help you understand how to read your body more. Exercise science and sports nutrition is the best scientific-based method to do this. And that's what I teach. With true exercise science and sports nutrition, you learn about carbs, fats, and proteins are not the enemy. The real problem is the processed foods, not labeling a one ingredient foods that comes from the earth as if it's some bad thing. This is called manipulation. I don't see people binging on one ingredient foods or having issues with one ingredient foods, but we do see that with the highly addictive processed foods. The problem is when the processed food is manipulated and you don't see the damage right away, and it's just like a budget, a financial budget, where you don't necessarily feel the effects until 3 to 6 months later because you had something in a deficit that was important. These are what the trends are doing. When you start blaming a protein, a carb, or a fat. At first, you start noticing great weight loss, but later on, because it's really not part of the equation, that's when it starts causing the problems. So blame the processed foods, not the proteins, carbs, or fat. Tip number 2, hydration. Hydrate for real, not just with water. Hydration isn't just about drinking water. Water and food don't enter the body until it's fully absorbed into the bloodstream. So just because something enters your mouth does not mean that we actually absorb it into your body. Fruit is one of the best ways to stay hydrated. It has H2O3 in it, and it's one of the most natural ways to wake up the body in the morning and just start getting water into the body and into the cells. Another really great tip is to use natural salts. So fruits and salts are my 2 favorite tips and other things besides water to stay hydrated. There's a lot of issues in our water system to where there might be fluorides or chemicals or just lots of things put into our water. And then just because you're drinking it and it's going right in through there does not mean your body's actually absorbing it. So fruits and salts are some of the best ways besides drinking actual water to get the body hydrated. When you drink water without minerals, that's the number one thing that actually affects the absorption. And that's the number one way that you can actually become dehydrated, drinking tons of water, and your body just does not absorb it because you do not have enough minerals present. Another hidden dehydrator is processed foods. And I kind of spent a lot of time in the beginning of this talk talking about the processed foods. They whack out the system in every aspect. So we just really want to take those out, and they 100% affect hydration, okay? And especially if you live in Southern California, there's definitely tons of parts of Southern California that are just naturally dry. So eating tons of fruits is a really just a total fitness hack on just keeping hydration high in the body. Tip number 3, balance your carbohydrates and protein to match your body. That advice is solid. It's not going to be going low carb though, it's ditching the processed foods. Processed foods are the real issue, not the carbohydrates. I've been doing fitness plans for over 28 years, staring at the digits. That's all I do for 8 hours a day, is sitting there staring at the math and the science on what a nutrition program and what is transforming many different people's bodies over many different demographics. I've seen the data, that's all I stare about. But long term, we want lifestyle change, where our carbs and our proteins match our goals and your metabolism. And really understanding what the word metabolism means. Like I told you, in 28 years, I've never actually had somebody answer the word metabolism correctly, even doctors. Here's some examples of some healthy carbs. If you just were trying to have a little simple list, go find some organic beans, roots, and rices and start with those. Or with the proteins, start with some hormone-free, antibiotic-free proteins like eggs with the yolks, fish, steak, chicken. The big thing we're looking out for is we want to avoid what man does to the food. We want to avoid the hormones, we want to avoid the antibiotics, we want to avoid the poisons. The less man has done to your food, the healthier it probably is for you and your metabolism. Tip number 4, sweat daily to rebuild your metabolic system. We are meant to move 100%. Oh my God, this is one of my favorite ones and one that gets kicked out by all the doctors. 20 minutes of exercise in the correct threshold level will increase your metabolism for 6 hours. So in 20 minutes, you can literally burn way more calories for just 6 hours by getting an adequate training, okay? And adequate is an important word. There's a lot of people out there doing the wrong training. Weight training is way far superior to any cardio or HIIT program. HIIT is getting up there, but still, it still has a huge risk of injury and has some other issues with it. Actual weight training is the most efficient way to map a program exactly to somebody's metabolism, to what exactly they need, and to up-level their system into a new ecosystem in the most safest manner possible. After age about 20, we lose a half a pound of muscle per year with inactivity. And if you're doing walking alone, you can still hold on to a little bit of lean mass in the lower parts of your calves and the upper parts of your thighs. But if you're just doing walking alone, you're going to strip out all the muscle into your upper body, and it's just going to leave your upper body and go to your lower body. For the first 10 years, I was doing exercise science and sports nutrition programs. I was a runner, a distance runner. I used to run a 7:30-minute mile. I actually stood next to Mizuki Noguchi, who won the 2008 Olympic marathon. And I used to do a lot of nutrition programs for distance runners and just runners. And cardio alone is one of the biggest ways to blow out your metabolism, especially if you don't know anything about the foods. And the point of this is to up-level our metabolism, not to cap it out with our exercise or our foods. When you combine resistance training with the proper amount of clean carbohydrates and clean proteins, that is the optimal formula for really up-leveling you into an ecosystem to make it easy, and the E word is the key here, to staying in a fit, healthy body daily. It actually takes hours off the schedule. I do no cardio. I do no cardio, and it helped a lot of people get into that position of no cardio with an excellent cardiovascular system and body fat. I keep bringing up the carbs because the carbs are the number one thing that people start fearing that stop them in this process. And we need to stop fearing the carbs. We need to stop fearing God's foods and start building strength within it. He knew exactly what he was doing when he created this amazing body, just like the inventor of the Ferrari knew what he was doing when he invented the Ferrari, and he created a manual to go right along with it. And it didn't include processed foods. We need to move daily, and you can do this within a 20-minute period if you do it accurately. We need to change the mindset out of fear. It's about building a system that supports your metabolic health for life. Tip number 5, prioritize your sleep and your mindset to recover metabolically. Your body does the most of its metabolic repair while you're sleeping. Sleeping is one of the biggest things we need to protect. You're gonna recover not only from your training, but from your life from sleeping. So if you have a very busy life where you use your brain a lot because you run a business or you do sales or you just have a real brain intense job, you need to recover from that. And sleep is going to be the number one thing that does that. Especially since the pandemic, I've had so many people with cortisol issues because we're so overworked, especially here in California. Okay, and lack of sleep 100% affects cortisol, mood swings, hunger, inflammation, and it stops the fat burning. Even if you're exercising, I've seen this firsthand where people are lacking the sleep, and because they lack the sleep and they can't recover from life and they can't recover from their training, the fat does not come off. Cortisol is something that our body naturally produces, and it's actually very healthy for us. When you go pick out a weight, your body starts immediately releasing cortisol but that's a healthy response. The negative responses from cortisol is when that response gets whacked out and it starts releasing it all the time, and your body doesn't know when it needs to release the cortisol and when it does not. And this is where mood comes in. And if you have a high stress life to where you're like, I have too much going on and I don't know how I can handle this, my recommendation to you is to up-level your mindset. Okay, I'm in firm belief that God would never give us anything we could not handle. Okay, and I've gone through the most stressful things in my life with this mindset. And you know what happens when I go through these stressful situations with this mindset? My mindset up levels. I'm going to pin a video up at the top of this thing. It's when my roof caved in, and I owned in one of my buildings, because I had a building for over I had a 3,600 square foot building, fitness building, for over 20 years, and the roof caved in, and my entire building got shut down, and I literally had to lay off 5 staff members, and I had about 160 members, and the amount of stress, and it cost me about $90,000 that went through this situation, was through the roof. But just through the power of a positive mind, I came up with positive solutions. I upgraded my own self, and instead of having, where if I were to stay in a victim mindset and just the entire time, I could have released massive amount of cortisol while going through this, but instead I came up with very effective solutions, solved my problems, and didn't take out any loans, and stayed in one of the most positive mindsets the whole time. Not a perfect positive mindset. I completely whined, I completely got out my aggressions, I completely got out whatever energy I needed to get out, but I didn't live there. There's a difference between living in your stress and using your stressors to up-level yourself with the power of a positive mind. So I recommend checking out this video because it's about 5 minutes long, and me and 5 of my clients did 2 competitions in the middle of moving an entire gym. And this is a perfect example on how you can upgrade yourself in the middle of something that feels like a crisis. because I'm in firm belief God would never give me or you anything we could not handle. And so if something is coming up in your life that's a struggle, it's time to upgrade. So those are my 5 tips to slim down fast, and more importantly, to reset your metabolism in just 5 days, no matter what's going on in your life. Whether you have a calm life, whether you have lots of things going on, these are 5 really easy tips. And these are tips that you want to take into lifestyle change as a permanent tip, because they're all things that balance us out, and they're all things that help us master ourselves. And that's what we want to do at the end of the day. It's always about mastering ourselves, getting just one more step ahead to, oh, that's part of my formula. That's part of who I am, and this is part of how I need to live life to optimize my metabolism. And check out my Metabolism Masterclass, where I'm going in depth, bringing up different PhDs which have solved amazing problems for us. I'm going deep into the 1 ingredient foods, what our metabolism actually means, and it's not digestion and calorie burning. That's just part of it. And the huge, and people not understanding what their metabolism and 100% distracts us from mastering it. Where we're going through each week in-depth subjects on the metabolism, whether it's the muscular system, digestion, what the actual metabolism means. Most people don't know what metabolism means. I'm going to do a whole video on the definition of metabolism, so look out for that one coming up. And if you're trying to make this body transformation permanent, like and subscribe to my page. This is your channel for body transformation. Bye.